You know what it is. It is yours truly, Disciple, aka YPLE of YPLE Productions, with the guest today, like I always do, just interview. I was gonna say interview, but introduce yourself
What up, Andre? MidNite Hudson, Nightshade Productions in the house. Let's do this.
in his house. Is that like in the house, like kid and play in the house?
It might be old school like that.
I can feel that. I can feel that. You said old school, old school. So how's your day, your night, your life, your whole everything been?
Yeah, everything's pretty all right. You know what I mean? Living life. Getting by.
Living life, getting by, the normal, the
Pretty
everyday
much.
struggle that we all been dealing with.
Bunch of bullshit.
A bunch of bullshit. But anyways, other than that, you notice now every time I say other than that anymore, it fucks with my head. Because now it's like a coin fucking phrase. But other than that, Mr. Andre MidNite Hudson, what got you into music? What caught your ear? What
Uh,
you
all right.
you know what I'm getting at.
When I was little, I got an uncle in a band, so it was around music, good chunk of my little guy years. And he kind of hit me to, how to listen to music and how to, pick it apart and listen to each individual thing that's going on.
Right.
So he got me into listening to music hardcore. You know what I mean? Didn't want to do music yet, but he got me listening to music with my all my ears. You know what I mean?
More of a like woke you up to the all around aspect of music.
Yeah.
Like I get that. You got to bear with me a little bit tonight. Because, I don't like you half the time as it is.
Well, I know.
Because you turn me into the person that I am. And now here I am.
That, that that's the blessing.
I'm all strung out and shit. And like you probably already know, I'm gonna go a little off base about my questions just because of our history. So
Right.
I don't want to ask you most of the questions I ask all the other artists for the simple fact that I know most of the answers to the
Right.
questions. So try to make it a little different, and see what would come up off the top of my head. But there's still a few basic questions that I ask all artists that I'm gonna ask you too.
Right. I
Um,
feel it.
so once you got into music and you started, like as you said, your uncle and all that, and you got into music, like was there trial and error when it came to what parts you wanted to do in music? Like, did you try other things before you said, "Oh, hey, I want to be a producer or I want to be a singer"?
The funny thing is, I was an artist before any of that. Painting, drawing. I come from a family of artists. And that's what everybody did in my family. We painted. We were drawing. We were creating something artistic. You know what I mean? So if I did not find music, that's what I'd be doing now.
Is drawing,
Which,
painting,
yeah,
or just something artistic in general?
like graphics, album covers, something like that. I probably would have stayed with that.
I could feel that, or something along them lines. But you still
Right.
do a little bit of that anyway, so
Yeah.
it's
I never really lost that.
right, right. I could dig that. I've been getting into a little of that myself, but
Right.
not to the extent like I think kind of like you. I mean, minus some of the things I learned from you. I venture off and do like how like you like to do like you said art and shit like that. I'm getting into like editing videos and shit like that and taking video. I just like how do I put it? I think I like the never ending possibility of how you can expand and almost make like any type of optical illusion or effect.
Right.
Like you can make anything look like something it's not or something like that, you know what I mean?
Right. I feel it.
But yeah, so I could definitely feel that. I notice I say that a lot too. I could definitely feel that. You know, I feel that.
It's, repetition, you're doing the interviews. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I ain't say there was a problem. I'm just saying, I start noticing coin phrases and shit. I'm like, don't say it again. Don't say it. And then I say it.
it happens. It be like that, man.
Yeah. I mean, but
Be like that.
consistency is good though. So
Right. Most definitely.
it works. It works. I ask this question to every artist because I know everybody has a different process. And like I said, it's another one of them questions where I think it might, it could possibly help somebody or help somebody musically or life wise or whatever. But how would you describe how you make your music? Like if you break it down from start to finish, how is that creative process?
I always have a melody in my head, no matter what. There's some kind of melody in my head, and then that's always my starting basis on, any song I'm working on.
Right.
And from there, once I have my melody down, I'll get my drums going to accompany the melody, and then drums, bass, filler instruments, and that's my creative process on how I merge together a song.
And then lyrics and so on.
Yeah.
Feel it. Yeah.
I'm more beat oriented than anything else. Lyrics are a side note
Right.
to the finished product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I definitely understand. That's your key point. That's what you focus on. Coming from a producer's aspect, I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely get
So I
what you're
mean,
saying.
but as a producer, lyrics are the last element I'm really thinking about when I'm writing.
Right, because you're more entangled in the beat speaking for you and so
Right.
on. Right. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Creative. All right, well then that'll lead me into my next question. I ask every artist this one. And remember, if you've seen any of the interviews, it goes as if from the beginning of music as far back as you can remember, you've seen or researched or heard of, all the way up until now, dead or alive, if you can collab with a music producer, artist, guitar player, piano player, singer, whatever it might be, and you only get to pick one, who would it be and why? And think about it in ways like I tell everybody else. It could be because of financial, it could be because of cloud, it could be it might help your career, it could be because of homage, whatever. But only one.
All right. I got this. Uh I'm gonna go with Andre 3000.
Why'd I have a feeling you
Really,
was
I'm
gonna say that? And I
like
see a lot of him in you, as fucked up as it is.
dude's just creative. You know what I mean? Like he'd be what I consider the Jimi Hendrix of the rap game. You know what I mean? Like
I can agree
my
with
man,
that. Yeah.
my man's just out there, but he's dope as an artist.
Prince of the rap game.
I mean, like he's just dope. I mean, like got to listening to some of his stuff like recently, and
I'm sitting
he'd be spitting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in my head thinking of your beats, thinking of him rapping. I'm like, wow, that could be some crazy fucking shit.
I mean, and he makes unique music too. And
Yeah, he definitely does.
I can't stress that enough. I mean,
Every album's been different.
I'm an avid believer of uniqueness.
Yeah.
And experimental stuff.
Well, that's what makes him who he is, just like every other great artist that's made it. It's because they're different than the rest. It's their
Right.
unique style or whatever it may be that they contribute.
Most definitely. Yes, most definitely.
So I definitely understand that. Don't mind me if I'm a little slow tonight than usual, but you probably don't notice because you be around me. I be hot. And I just switched up the bats tonight and I be hot.
You know,
And I got my producer.
you
I get to drag my producer through the mud tonight. I mean, most of y'all that know me and know my music know, I'm always talking about my mans and shit. But yeah, so I get to enjoy this one a little bit. All the years he was drilling us like Joe Jackson and shit.
hey, that made you better artist, man.
Definitely.
Most definitely that.
So what
And go ahead.
what do you think what do you think about the trip from beginning to end? How would you explain the trip? How would you explain the tree, where it started to where it's at now? What would you say about it?
All right. Oh man. That's a long line, man. Like for real. All right. So we go start with Monis. How I met Monis. It was either summer of '92 or '93.
Oh shit. I was a weed.
And right. And me and my dude Jason, we were wannabe rappers. And you know, we ain't never been in a studio, we ain't never seen a studio, we ain't never, been anywhere near anything musical like that.
But y'all thought y'all was about that life.
Right. And we're walking down the street, we used to live in the harbor, and kid pops out the gate like, hey, y'all know anybody wants to rap? Me and Jason look at each other like, hey, we do. Dude brought us up in the studio, and history was made from there.
He said, you know anybody wants to rap?
I spent from 92 to 93 to 90 98, just studying under Monis. And back in the day, our programs were a little harder to work with.
Right.
So I know you could attest for that.
Yeah.
And I learned everything I could possibly learn at that given time from him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And much respect, the top of the world. Without Monis, I wouldn't be here and be doing this right now.
I could do that.
All right. So from there, after I left Monis, I kind of honed my skills for the next few years. So that takes us up to about 2003. I'm just I'm putting together makeshift rinky-dink studios, and just trying to make a little name for myself or whatever. And that brings us to the Bonniewood studio. Right. Where that's the golden age of Nightshade right there. And got Bert, Aaron Hood, Shannon Hunter, Prince Ali.
Right.
So I got a bunch of artists under me. There's some more names in there. C Gutter,
everybody.
Yeah, everybody, everybody. Like if you was doing music at that time, you was coming through me. You know what I mean? And I feel, I'm looking back on it now. I feel like I was the head coach of a fucked up team. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to you guys, but I mean that's how I felt. You know what I mean? Like we got to go out there. We got to hit them with this sound, and this is how it's gonna be. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I felt like I was doing with you guys. I was kind of polishing you guys to go out in the real world and make something happen.
Right. Whole bunch of crazy minions on the loose now.
Right.
But I get it. That's crazy though, just because I sit back and think too. A lot of artists that are still relevant came from that studio, and like a lot of artists that didn't come from that studio, they didn't really stay relevant. But Not all. There was others, that weren't with us that were out there doing their thing. Not to, throw no shade towards them, but it's crazy. It was a lot of
But
people. We had like a little
but
no limit going on damn there.
but yeah, we were most definitely a camp, and if you was doing music in Ashtabula, you knew about us.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
You
for
know, you
sure.
you 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 knew about us. You know what I mean? And like I said, during that Bonniewood studio time, that was, the height of, what I was doing.
Right.
And that's, the most artists I've had come through at one given time. You know what I mean? Like that little rinky dink project apartment, was full of people on a daily basis.
I couldn't do it as a producer. Fuck that.
But I mean, you was in there, you was in the mix. You had, you guys, Ashtabula Cartel, was dropping albums at that time. And
Yeah. But I
you know what I
mean, to
mean.
be
Like
the one behind the control center and deal with all them different people and groups, fuck that.
I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, but I did.
Right.
That was my crowning achievement, I think. I mean, that is the legacy I'm leaving behind, and people still making noise from that studio to this day.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's more or
know,
less what I was saying.
that's almost 20 years of work that
Crackheads.
pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, and still doing it. The people that I named in that small group, that they're still making music to this day.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
You know
that's
what I
kind
mean?
of what
Like
I
in,
was
in,
saying.
in one form or another. They're still musically active,
Right.
and they're still using the methods I was employing at that time in their music still to this day.
Right.
And you know what I mean? I feel, if Monis didn't give me that shot, I don't know where you guys would have found another person until Monis, set up top of the world, and I was kind of doing it for the town, you know what I mean? And
Right.
we created an Ashtabula sound.
Right.
And I've noticed this, I went and listened to uh Brody Merlot's album,
The
and
third. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
the third element. I went and listened to his album, and he's still, there's still some of those elements that I was feeding you guys.
Are they third elements?
Yeah, there was third elements. You know what I mean? But like the Nightshade Double Time, you know what I mean? Like Bert, was talking
I was
about
gonna
that
say,
in
yeah,
the,
he mentioned that.
what I mean? And that's prominent in our music still, you know what I mean? And I hear it still in some of the stuff he was
We did
coming
that
coming off with.
first.
You know what I mean? Like now everybody sounds like that 20 years later. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like everybody's doing that now, and
Say it one more time.
everybody's doing that now.
Everybody.
And I ain't trying to sound cocky or, braggadocious or whatever, but
I
you know what
could
I
pull
mean?
them tracks
I
back up.
oh yeah, so can I, you know what I mean? And that sound stuck with y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the way we compose beats and the way we, merged all that stuff together, it was like a big, pot of stew, and we was just throwing ingredients in it, and
I mean,
we,
I ain't
we
gonna
came up with
lie.
that.
I take credit and pride, regardless of what others think, but not too many disagree. But I take pride in the sound that Ashtabula has because I feel like I helped create it. Even though there was a generation before me, I did from listening to them and then put my own twist on it, and then you and me together. I feel as if we created the sound of Ashtabula, which is damn near, call me crazy all you want, which is damn near the sound of the industry right now if you take the auto tune off it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Like,
And that's stuff from 20 years ago. So
yeah.
what, were we ahead of our time, or are they just catching up with us now? You know what I mean? Like,
Either way you look at it, it's the same. But either way, I mean, it's still a beautiful thing. Like so,
oh yeah, most definitely.
like. But I do get a kick out of it. I'm like, I remember cats used to run out of the studio and be like, "Why you guys always singing in your fucking rap songs and whoop de whoop and all that other shit?"
And then that's now nowadays that's all you hear now.
Yeah,
You know, minus the auto tune on it. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But
it's crazy.
that's wild to me, man. Like,
I just look at it as
absolutely.
we was ahead of our time.
You know, and that's what I think. You know what I mean? And I could bring up those tracks from 20 years ago. I know you don't want me to, but I could bring them up and we could play them and put them out right now, and they'd still be just as good as the day we made them. And it's timeless music.
What's the legend?
But I mean, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I mean, my point being right there is, you know, we made timeless tracks, and you know, there's nothing on those tracks that will date them, you know, and
Right.
you don't know when they came from. Those could have been tracks from last year. Those could have been tracks from 20 years ago. Those could be tracks from, you know, yesterday.
Yeah, I feel you because we got tracks we never even released we can put out today and they'd be like, they wouldn't know no difference.
Right. Because that sound has remained the same, you know, minus, you know, we grew a little bit as artists and a producer, or, you know, vice versa. You know, we grew a little bit since that time, but you know, the music still has that timeless element to it.
Yeah, and it's still, regardless, it's still gonna have that sound in there somewhere, even if it's, done evolved, it's still gonna have that key sound in there.
Yeah. And you know it's us, you know, when you hear it. Or
Yeah.
you know, it's a Nightshade or YPLE production, you know,
Right.
track, you know what I mean? You know that off rip. The second, you know, we come on saying anything,
Right.
you know it's our song.
Um, while I roll this blunt, I'm gonna go to the funny question I
All
always
right.
ask, which is basically car, house, shower, walking around, going for a walk at night, walking through your house, taking a shower. Is there any strange type? Well, I don't want to say strange. Is there a music or a song or an artist or any type of music that you catch yourself singing that most people probably think you wouldn't listen to? Like, who would the artist be and what song? Like if you're walking around, you humming shit to yourself, things of that nature. And it could be underground, famous, whatever. It don't matter.
See, that's the thing with me. I really don't have a particular artist or you know, song or, you know, whatever, you know, stuck in my head. But I do got beats for days, you know, just rattling around in my head. So if like I'm in the shower, you know, I got, you know, a melody and I got a beat, you know, bopping around in there. I'm like, all right, I got to get out the shower and write that down. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I got to lay that down. You know what I mean? And
So it ain't like,
it's beats constantly. You know what I
right.
mean?
So
Like,
you just hear a rhythm in your head, not so much music.
yeah, like if I'm at work, you know what I mean? Like the machinery makes rhythmic sounds. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know, and if I throw this melody over that, that go hard. You
Right.
know, and you know, it's this industrial sounds. You know, while I'm walking around at work and shit. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know, I got a melody in my head going to the, you know, the rhythm of the presses going up and down, and
Um, he said, fucking goddamn lyrics. I'll be hearing shit in my head. I'll be hearing beats. But that makes sense coming from a producer that's, is more on the aspect of producing than he is lyrics. I understand
right.
that. Um, I already know what you're gonna say because we was just talking about this a couple minutes ago, but what would you describe your music as?
Oh man. All right. You know, I'm gonna have to do this from a me and you perspective. I would call our music, oh man, thug love songs. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way I can describe that shit.
It's a thug love songs.
Like thug R&B. That's how I can describe it. You know what I mean? Like you're giving, you know, some gangster life stories, and then you got, you know, our ODB element in there, you know, and that pretty much sums up, you know, I mean, it's thug R&B.
No, I get it. No, it definitely is. It's like rap and R&B mixed together all the time. I definitely
Yeah,
agree with that. But he
you know,
said thug love. It
you
reminds
know what
me
I
of
mean?
that
Like,
Boondocks episode. Like, no, 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 that shit sound gay.
yeah, I feel what you're saying, but I mean that's how I can, you know, describe it in layman's terms.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of harmony like R&B, and then there's a lot of rap like rap. So yeah, definitely.
Right.
I get it. We're not a band. My band. My band. My band.
Well, all right. That which brings me to my next thing. You know,
No.
I'm gonna hit you with some shit.
No, I'm supposed to be interviewing you. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know what you're doing, but you know, I'm gonna let people know some stuff.
Okay, let us know
All
some
right,
stuff.
I'm gonna let you know some stuff. All
Okay.
right. He sounds funny without me. I sound funny without him. You know what I mean? Like people are used to hearing, you know, me coming in on a hook, you coming in as "Wapiele baby," and you know, dropping the verse, and
This Wapieli, baby.
you know, I mean,
Sorry.
it
Nightshade
it,
Wapieli
it,
Productions,
it
baby.
feng shui's, man. It feng shui's.
Oh.
You know that's the only thing I can say. But it sounds funny when we're not on a song together.
No, it's kind
You
of
know,
like
people are
Bone when they're doing solo shits by themselves,
yeah,
the artists. It just don't sound the same as Bone as a whole.
right.
I still
You know,
write like that even when I do solo shit though. Like I still
like
hear it.
I got tracks here, you know, with you know just my vocals on it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
all
I
right, well,
know.
you know, Disciples gonna come in, you know, drop the
Right.
verse right there, and you know, we go chop it up like this,
That's
and
that
you
workflow,
know,
that chemistry, that
you know that's how I
format.
hear. That's how I hear everything I write. You know, if I'm doing solo stuff, if I'm you know working with somebody else, if I'm working with you, that's how I hear. You know, every track broke down.
Yeah, I got that same issue. Don't feel bad. That's
You know
why
what I mean? Like,
that's why I let you breeze over a little of the shit I was working on because it got me having to do more shit like that when like we're not available to, be in the lab together or because, family situations or, real life situations. But that's why I kind of showed you what I was working on because it's been pushing me
right.
more towards that a little bit too. So
You know, and that's dope that you know taking another aspect to you know the music, and you're
right,
trying something new.
right.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
scared.
Hey, it's dope though.
Yeah.
It's dope. I
But I
mean, you know,
still
you
feel
only
like that kid that walked in your studio when you played my shit back. I'm like, what the fuck? This is awkward. That sounds weird.
you know, and this for your fans too. You know, all right, when my man started out, you know, the, my first artist. You know what I mean? First artist I picked up, you know, for Nightshade Productions, and you know, from there, you know, more people came through. But when he first started out, you know, he came with, you know, the generation that was ahead of us, and you know, he had been kicking it with them, and you know, they said, all right, you need to, you know, come to the studio, get that stuff out, and you know, and he came to you came in that studio that first day, and you dropped bars despite the vocabulary issue. I mean, you was dropping bars,
Right.
and you know, it needed some polish, but we put some polish on it, we shined it up, and it's dope now. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. I treated every artist in there. You know, I treated every artist as my own personal project. All right, I'm a you know get this cat rapping like this. I'm gonna get this cat rapping like this. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna fuse this all together, and you know we go jump on each other's you know stuff, and It's go
It was like
it's
a
go
whole
mash
bunch of
out.
mixtapes, and we're like, here, you put your artist name on this one, you put your artist name on this one. It was just a whole bunch of collabs, and
And we go mash out, and that's what we did.
it
You know what I
it,
mean? Like, and go ahead.
it mashed out.
It did. You know what I mean? And
Sometimes a little too hard.
and you guys, stuck with me. While I was developing, the sound that I wanted, and the sound that pretty much we still use to this day. I mean, it's very refined now, but
Right.
it is the sound we do still use to this day. It's just more polished and shined up. I feel like all you guys came in as lumps of coal and left out diamonds. You know what I mean?
Got that pressure applied.
Right? Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. So, what do you think I should say the beginning of your studio till now, and everybody out there, and whoop de whoop, everybody that was involved, since we're on that subject, do you think it did more good than bad or more bad than good? Like in your head, like out of everything and all the artists, is it more of a proud thing, or is it a proud thing and a what the fuck did I do thing? Or do you ever think about it in that way? Like,
I didn't realize how big of an impact I was making on people at that given time. And until you started putting these interviews out, I didn't know what people thought. And I watched Bert's interview, I watched Jesse's interview, and you know their insight into what was going on at that time period. I didn't realize what impact I was leaving on them, and you know how much respect I'm actually getting off of this. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And as a artist and a producer, you know what I mean, that's a proud moment. You know what I mean? That's a very proud moment. And my brother, like Ollie the Prince, like his last album he did, he gave me mad props on his last album, and that he said I polished his skills and made him a better artist,
right,
for it,
right.
and but that's my brother, but coming from other people like you and you know Bert and Jesse and
You fucked me
whoever
up,
else was
bro.
in there. Well, yeah, but you was my protege,
I
so
don't say it in
you
a
gotta
bad
you
way
gotta get.
because it made me well rounded. Like I can like if you're not around and like for say I want to go mock something up, I can go in the studio, turn the controls on. I could drop a beat in a program, I can chop something up, drop some vocals, I could fucking, do all that shit, mix a little bit, and then I could bring you over and be like, bro, that's what I'm talking about. I need you here, need you, I hear you here, like, like you was talking about earlier. And then you go in there and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Ah, and then it's just easy because we did it for so long, I think. But that's
Yeah,
why,
and when our best songs come out is when we're clowning in the studio. You know what I mean? And all right, this is some advice that I give other people.
let it go.
When you're in the studio and it becomes work, like real work, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, yeah,
If you're not going in there and you know, all right, this is another thing I taught people. Come in prepared. Yeah, we were writing on the spot, but you know, we've gotten so good at writing lyrics. We come up with a song in good 15 minutes and
right,
drop that whole song in that time period.
right.
But come in prepared and be ready for it. But at the same time, have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah.
When that becomes work and when you're trapped in the booth and you can't get out the booth and
No, I mean,
that.
yeah, no, I mean, back to what you were saying though, like there was definitely a lot of like I told you when I was doing some of the interviews that you would be surprised how many people pay homage to each other, like from around here, and artists and producers and stuff like that. I was even surprised about, the aspect of some of the gratitude I was getting. I mean, I'm humble and all, but at the same time, the reason I bring it up is because, like you said, at the time, I was I was living in that moment, so I didn't know that's what I was. If that makes sense, like you said, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't know you was leaving that big of an influence on people because you was actually creating that moment at that time,
Yeah, so yeah,
unknowingly.
exactly.
So yeah, that's
Exactly.
why I said, out of all the people I heard, like I've told a few other artists I interviewed, it's crazy between people that beef and people that don't beef and people in this town in general. There's a lot of people shouting out the same people from the same tree and the same bloodline. It's kind of funny, but at the
Right.
same time, it's dope. It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, so
And like I said, if you was doing music around that time period, that 2003 to, that to now, I mean, you've heard of us.
right,
You know what I mean? You've heard of us in this town, you know what I mean? And you know, I I knew that, I mean, I get stopped in the street still to this day, like, hey yo, Drake, you still doing music, man?
right,
You still in the studio, from cats that never been in the studio.
right,
But they know that's what I do.
right.
You know what I mean? And they know my music, and that's a touching thing for me. You know what I mean? Like in in this town, for people to recognize me just going out in public, and be like, "Hey, yo, Dre, you still in the studio? You
Right.
still dropping beats? Still doing this?
20 something
That
years later.
right."
Right.
And I still get that to this day. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to me.
No, I feel that because even like in my younger days, or even up to now, somebody has something to say to me or beefs with me. I don't like to call it beef. It's usually disagreement because it's usually not a beef nowadays because I don't
Right.
be on that bullshit. But they don't tend to attack the music too much. They leave that out the equation.
Right.
At least if they're involved in music and shit like that. It's like they don't want to touch it. They're like, well, we ain't gonna talk about that, but you a bitch. It's
Right.
like, okay, okay. But nah, yeah, no, I definitely get it because like I said, I get that people pay homage to me, and I don't look at it that way because a lot of them people I was right next to them, but kind of like you said too, I came in with the generation that was above me when I started doing shit. And when my generation came in, I kind of merged them with them, but was already there, if this makes sense. So maybe
Right.
they
Yeah, I feel
maybe
you.
they were looking at me like I was the generation above them. Really, I was the generation with them,
Right.
however you want to put it. But yeah, no, it's definitely a trippy experience. But that's kind of what
I,
I like about it though.
I think that's dope though. You know what I mean? That, we did make something happen. And, you were over my shoulder the whole time, going, all right, what's that button do? All right,
Yeah.
how we do this, you know what I mean? Like,
Or
and
calling you or something.
yeah,
You was going to the
and
bars, I was taking your studio hostage in their hours of grinding, trying to figure out shit.
right, that's dope to me. You know what I mean? That we trickled down the line, so smoothly like that, and
Yeah,
we transition like that. You know what I mean?
branched
You know,
off. And this conversation always seems to come up in every interview because it trips me out. I always sit back and get lost when I start thinking in my head all the different ways it's branched off. And you can kind of almost pinpoint it back to two people producing wise, three people producing wise. I really think of it as there's about four. The way I would look at it at the beginning, it was more like, like Station Side and Reese. And then, you had, for instance, you had Monas, and then you had you, and then you had Stacy D,
D
and
Norm.
you had D Norm, rest in peace to D Norm.
Yep. Rest in peace.
Um, and that was about the just, and then the only DJ was DJ Phase.
Yep.
And after that, it pretty much expanded to everything else you see in Beulah, I would say hip hop wise and things of that nature. all from a little group of people, 4 or 5 people.
And that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it turned into all these minions.
Yeah, that is mind-blowingly crazy.
It's a
You know what I
gold
mean? Like,
mine, bro. It's a gold mine. Nobody's just
you know,
tapped
and
into it.
I feel Beulah music is
It's got its own sound. It's a
it has its
Motown.
own sound,
It's like a
and it's
Motown of its own, bro. I'm telling you. Even if it's rock or rap, you will still find the same elements in both them musics
and
from a
I
Beulah
feel
sound.
if one person got out from here, one
That's all
person,
it takes.
it'd be over. It'd be raps. You know what I mean? Like one person hit the industry from Beulah. Oh man, it's over. It's over.
Curtains.
You
That
know what I mean? Like,
that one person's gonna tap into a gold mine if he's smart.
oh yeah, oh yeah, most definitely.
But yeah, I definitely respect it. I respect everybody's opinion. I definitely love and respect everybody's comments. Like that's a big thing. And I mean, not to be a dickhead, but if anybody was to ever come off, not even about you or anybody else, just because I know history and tried to say some old bullshit that was a lie, I'm gonna call them on it anyway. So,
Oh right, most definitely.
but
Because I mean, you were there for all of it.
right,
You know what I mean? Well, a good majority of it. I mean, besides the beginning stuff, but you was there for the majority of it.
right.
You know?
I always ask this question too. There's a lot I always ask, but like I said, this is the first time around. I say that a lot too, so I'm not getting personal at this moment. But what is a song of yours personally? Like, what is your favorite song out of all your songs, and why? What is the reason behind it? Whether it be performing, or you just like singing that song, or you like how it sounds, or whatever it may be, the meaning of it.
I got two.
So too.
I got two.
I'll let you slide
Um,
because you're one and I'm two.
yeah. Like
He said, yeah. Yeah, fuck you. Oh,
water
narcissist.
waterfall waterfalls, just for that sheer performance of that song, is epic.
Right,
That was an epic moment, you know what I mean? Like when we performed that for the first time.
right.
And So Strong.
I like that song.
Yeah. I like that song a lot. And it was a layer, how we, mush some singing into your verse, and
Right, all
it's
that.
just all the elements that go into that song, that was
The
that's an epic song for me too.
the mental meltdown of the song.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much,
That's what I like to call it.
pretty much. But yeah, those are my two favorite songs that we got
I
thus
feel it.
far.
I feel it. Um, he said thus far. I like that
Thus
too. I
far,
heard that. Because you never know what's gonna happen in the future.
right?
Um, do you think there's anything? I mean, I already know you're gonna say yeah, but so I'm gonna just ask, what do you think you need to work on? I'm gonna skip over the whole. Do you think there's anything you need to work on musically? But what do you think you need to work on, if anything, music wise, that you think you need to learn? You think that's default in your musical abilities or something of that? Something that intrigues you, you could be better at, that you need to pursue, you think?
All right, it's not so much something I need to work on; it's something I need to revert back to. All right, during the Bonniewood Nightshade studio time, I was just writing. I wasn't focusing on specific notes. I wasn't focusing on music theory. I wasn't focusing on any of that. And through the years, I've learned a lot more about music, and now it's music theory and what notes go right together, and you know if I play this melody, I have to play this accompaniment in, G sharp minor, and it,
Everything's
it's
got to be
become,
perfect,
yeah,
politically correct.
yeah, and that's something I noticed that I've been doing lately. I've been over analyzing what I'm actually writing.
But that goes back to like what you used to tell me, because I used to question, like I'd be like, does this sound right? Does that sound right? Does it? And you'd be like, in a nutshell, I can't explain it all, but you kind of beat in my head. You was like, just let it go. Just say it. Just let it go. Who cares if you think it sounds right or not? Just go with the flow. Let it go.
Right.
Like,
And I've kind of trapped myself in this, music theory bubble, and
oh, you
you
and me
know,
both, and it's that bubble of the way we sound together. It's that harmony and that rap and all that. And I got songs, bro. Like I got fucking 5 hard drives of songs, and I'm like, they're dope songs, but one might have you missing, one might have me missing, and I'm like,
right.
it don't stand up to my standards. Somebody else
Yeah,
might hear it.
they'll
They'll be like,
feng
that's
shui right.
fucking dope. And I'm like, nah, it's missing this and that and this and that. They're gonna
And
be
then when
they're gonna be Tupac and Death Row in our motherfucking tracks that we never released after we're dead.
oh, I guarantee it. I got a box full of, CDs, full of songs that I've never released, full of beats that I've never released. And there's thousands and thousands of songs on there, that I've never done anything with. And people go through that archive and they're gonna be like, what? He was sitting on a gold mine.
Well, I got
Yeah.
I got like, bro,
Hard drives and hard drives. Look at this.
bro.
Hard drives and hard drives.
Well, I'm not done yet, bro. I'm not gonna dig them all out, but every about 90% of these hard drives, well, I give it 80% of these hard drives have unreleased and unfinished songs and vocals and beats and all that. I bet
Oh
you
yeah, most
there's,
definitely.
I bet you there's thousands.
Oh yeah, easy. Easy.
And some shit I hope never gets released. Because that's all Dre's fault.
Yeah, but you took me down some rabbit holes, a few times,
All
and
about Dre.
we've
Remember
been
when
on.
I'm dead and gone? He's lying. He dictated everything.
Why do I got to be a dictator?
Are you asking yourself this?
No, I'm asking you personally this. Like, why was I a dictator? Explain to the people what I did that was,
I don't know
dictatorial.
why you was. You just was. You was just Joe Jackson in
Example.
us.
Example.
Remember when you used to chase us around the living room with the leather belt because we couldn't hit the right note?
You stupid, man.
Remember when we didn't all dance in the same line in the right cadence? You used to whip us with the belt. Yeah, we're gonna put this
Oh
out there now. I'm
man.
about to have a meltdown while I smoke.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is too
You
funny.
want some more answers?
Yeah, give me some more.
No, I mean I'm not
Oh,
saying it was a bad thing, but
yeah, I was a little hard on you guys, but I mean, I heard it the way I heard it, and I wanted it the way I heard it. You know what I mean?
right.
Like when you guys were dropping. All right, given that double time cadence is hard to hit. You know what I mean?
It's not.
And it's not now, but when we were starting out with that, it's hard to hit. You know what I mean? And some people got trapped in the booth with that. Tell me they didn't.
It's so simple, bro. Go watch the Adams Family. That's all I can tell you, artist. Get you a 3/4 beat, watch the Adams Family, and let go.
You know what I mean? Like,
He said, do 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 do. That's all you got to do, bro. Like it ain't that hard. But
It ain't
I
that hard.
but I listened to a
You
lot of like Bone and Harmony and shit like that growing up.
but you
So
feel what I'm saying, and so did everybody else coming through the studio. But once it got time to lay some of that stuff down, I mean, there's some spitting, you know, bars. All right, we ain't gonna mention no names, but your ex homie, used to get in the booth and we'd have to piece them together because he couldn't.
or calm them down, right?
Yeah,
But I
because he
can
because he couldn't
say,
lay it down all at once.
like, yeah. I mean, I ain't got no beef with him. He knows that. We've had our words, we've talked. But one thing I can say is like he always had that energy, that animation.
Right? Yeah.
Like, and I kind of picked up some of that off of him because I was real melodic with my delivery.
And his voice didn't match his face
What's
at
because
all.
because he was little and had a big voice, a deep
His
voice.
voice, yeah, his voice did not match his face at all. You know what I mean? Like, but he was in there spitting. I
Yeah.
mean, sounded like he was taking shots sometimes, but I mean, he was in there spitting.
No, but definitely at the same time, like I said, the back and forth and all that, like I've learned a lot off of everything we did from day one till now and everything I've been through. But that was part of my process. So I could definitely never knock it. You know what I mean? Like it
You
taught
remember when
me
you was everybody's go-to feature?
on every fucking album, yeah. Gutta,
Oh, yeah,
Ali,
we got to get Kenny on that.
yeah,
Let's get
everybody.
Kenny.
The hot groups, the in between groups, the
Like you that's funny, man. Like you made everybody's song that much hotter. You gave everybody street cred.
I don't like none of y'all. Nah, I'm just
Hey,
fucking
put
with you.
YPLE on the album.
Right.
Give me street cred.
My name's Desyple.
YPLE.
I will no longer answer the YPLE. It was a fabricated name made up by the masses. I just went along with it.
Well, I'm the masses. Like what you saying?
DES?
YPLE.
Right. Desyple.
It's YPLE. YPLE, baby.
This motherfucker. Oh,
Yeah, it's
shit.
all love, man.
If you could change one thing about the music game, any aspect, anything, period, whatever it may be, what would it be?
Make music real again.
What do you mean, real? I know what you mean, but
Instead of this cookie cutter, everybody sounds like everybody else. When we was coming up and when we was doing shit, we had to sound like individuals. We had to sound like, it was frowned upon to sound like other people.
right,
You know what I mean? Like you got one Tupac, you got one Biggie,
right,
you got one Bone Thugs and Harmony.
right,
I mean, even though there was 5 of them, but
right.
that's besides the point. You get what I'm
Six if
saying? I
you're
mean,
technical.
yeah, 6 if you're technical, but they sounded like nobody else.
Right,
You know what I mean? Now you listen to stuff on the radio now, every single artist sounds exactly like the other artist. I don't know where one artist begins and the other artist ends on the radio.
right. It's like all the same trend.
It's we go sing some auto tune stuff. We go to hip it the hip.
I keep look. I keep
And that's every song.
I keep hearing this in almost every interview I have, and I'm not saying I'm mad, but look, youngsters, y'all grinding, y'all doing y'all thing. Don't come beat up us old dudes because everybody keep bitching about it. But no, I get what you're saying. Everything's carbon copy trend now, and that's the only
Yeah, like
thing.
I mean, it's like they got an assembly line going, and you're gonna sound like this. You're gonna sound like this.
I think a lot of
You're gonna
that
sound like
is the
this. You know what I mean?
industry
Like,
selling it more of a product based type of thing instead of organic music. They're like,
and don't get me wrong. There's artists out there like Tyler the Creator or Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole
right,
or Earl Sweatshirt. I mean, they sound like individuals. Nobody sounds like them. Nobody's copying them. You know what I mean? But they should.
Right.
They really should.
But that's
You know what I
not the
mean?
hotness to the masses.
You know, and the funny thing is, you know, those artists, you know, are in the underground, which they shouldn't be.
I said the
You know what I
neighbors
mean?
think I'm selling dope. Sorry.
Yeah, they that should be mainstream. You know, that's what I want to hear on the radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I do listen to the radio,
I am. That's that music twist. That shit real too.
it is, and we coined that phrase, music Tourette's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's ours.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I cannot stand the way music sounds now. You know what I mean?
So you just want it mixed up and a lot more uniqueness in it.
Yes.
A lot more organic.
All right. You know, how do you go from the, you know, 2000s to 2010s to, you know, those were good years for music, you know, and then you got they were all right. And then you got, you know, the late 2000s, you know, going into 2020 and 2021 where we're at now, and like everything from that point on, like from 2015 to now, sounds exactly the same. Why?
Like I said,
Like
I
that,
think a lot of it's the market. That's what's being shoved down everybody's throat. They're like, if you wanna be rich, this is what you're gonna do and look like.
you know what I'm gonna call this? I'm gonna call this the Dr. Dre effect. Dr. Dre ruined California. You know, the whole
Bling,
West
bling,
Coast
bling,
sounds
bling,
like
bling, bling, bling,
the whole
bling,
West Coast
bling,
sounds
bling,
like that.
bling, 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 bling,
To this
bling,
day.
bling.
You know, the whole West Coast sounds like that.
If you're from the West Coast and you ain't got that piano in there, you ain't from the West Coast.
You know what I mean? Like that's that sound. You know what I mean? Like everything there sounds like that.
Mhm.
You know, and
It's that
that's
signature
what
sound.
yeah, that's what everything sounds like on the radio now. Like it's not a signature sound, it's this carbon copy. All right,
Right.
here's another one.
Right.
Here's another one. You know, like they got robots in there, you know, producing the track.
That's basically what it is. They're looking at people as product and selling them as products, but artists are going with it because they're getting rich off of it. They don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But you know, and I don't knock nobody's hustle, but I want to hear something different. You know what I mean? I do. I want to hear something different.
He said he wants some new flavor in his ear. Kicking that
You
brand
know,
new flavor in your ear.
time. You know, I mean that's just me. You know, I mean, I like, you know, this goes back to the beginning of the interview. I like unique. You know, give me a unique sound.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why I call
Like,
you Dr. Dre.
you know, I need
Weird. What most people call weird, unique, however you want to put it. That's what's
is
gonna.
that how my sound is?
No, but
Is
I'm
it
saying
weird?
that's what's gonna blow in the industry is that unique. It needs something new.
Right. Yeah. But see, you got people in the industry now that don't want to, you know, do that. But yeah, I want something. You know, my drum beats are unique. My melody is unique. You know, the way we sing and rap on the track is unique.
But that's what mainstream I think is the main issue. Where most people call selling your soul and shit like that.
And that's what it is. You know, people are selling their soul for some, you know, shiny chains and
the real
know,
motherfuckers that
fast
are in
cars.
the real people in the real music with the real heart and the real love, real passion, showing the real love and the real pain are getting ousted.
Yeah.
Which is
that's why we can never be in the industry.
Which is real music if you go back to the roots. It's about experiences,
you know, that's
emotions.
That is exactly why we could not be in the industry.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I couldn't get pumped like that though. Fuck that.
You know, I mean, like that's not the business.
How do I want to ask this one? Do you think, or not do you think, but where do you think, like, I call this the shit meter number, where do you feel is that overall musical wise in your life and the game, everything you are and why? I like to call it the shit meter, like, where do you think?
Where do I think I stand on that? I'm gonna give myself a solid 8.
8?
Solid 8.
Why?
I mean, because there's things I still need to learn, and there's things I still need to work on. So, but through all my accomplishments and, everything I've learned throughout the years, you know, I've actually made a name for myself in this town, and that lets me stand at a solid 8. I'm still learning, I'm still, doing it. I'm just doing it a little different now. You know what I mean?
So always room for progress. Always.
Always, always. I'm not gonna stop learning shit till the day I die.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Personally, I think you're like a fucking one or a negative one.
Well, yeah, I know, because
But
you just have a lot of animosity and hatred towards me, but that's
well,
cool
yeah,
though. You know what I mean?
because a lot of people think music is like all fun and games, and it's like
I made it fun for you.
music is all fun and games unless you have a real habit, and I can't explain that to nobody. And then when you find new ways to what I like to call shoot this dope up, if I were to put it in these drugs that they do nowadays, and you find like 50 different ways to shoot this dope up, before you know it, you're a junkie and it never lets go. And you got to blame somebody for that because that's what they do nowadays. They
So
blame others.
I'm your scapegoat.
Kill the heroin dealer.
I'm your scapegoat, right?
So, which leads back to the mental state that I can be in at times, like, thank you.
I've wanted to quit, doing music so many times,
It
but
won't happen. I'm gonna be in an
it just
old
gives
folks'
it,
home rapping to the chick next to me, probably 80
you
years
know, it,
old.
it keeps drawing me back in. You know what I mean? Like, and I picked up a new aspect. I started playing guitar, a few years back, and I'm incorporating that into the music. And
Okay, Jimmy.
yay! I told you I'm always learning, always
They
expanding,
flagging
man.
us
Like
for that one.
I mean, I gotta reach new heights. You know what I mean? And I gotta make more experimental sounds, and I gotta keep uniqueness in my writing.
Progression, like you said.
Yeah.
Always
You
room to
know,
learn.
always strive to learn more.
Right,
You
right.
know,
No, I definitely feel that. I feel that. Um, I know you've seen this. I pop it up whenever, but this one I like to ask because, like I said, you might be helping somebody through some, whether it be music, whether it be life in general, whether, just anything all around. And it spreads knowledge, and I like to spread knowledge. It might be something nobody's ever heard. And the way I usually tell the artist, producer, or whoever it may be to look at it as in like you would be telling your fans what is a piece of knowledge that's always stuck with you that you would tell your fans? Like however you want to put it, wisdom, knowledge, whatever. Like what is something you've learned in life that you would tell your fans that maybe could be helpful?
never let anybody step on or kill your dreams.
Like Drake. Even though I'm interviewing you somewhere towards the end of the show, I always give the person I'm interviewing the chance to ask me anything if they want to ask, me any type of questions or anything like that. Because people got questions, or however you want to put it. Some people look at me as me, some people know me, some people got questions because I intrigued them, or however you want to put it. Some people just fucking hate me. Either way it goes, I don't care. You know how I roll. But yeah, like I give everybody take that shot. If they got a question, I can answer it. I answer it to the best of my knowledge.
I got a question. All right, during our
I
golden
don't
age
care.
at
Shoot
Bollywood
up.
Studios, you do care. Listen, all right, what was your personal experience coming into that, environment? Like good, bad, in between. I mean, like what was your
What do you
personal
mean, like
experience like?
from the beginning?
Yeah, from meeting me to getting in the studio, getting into all this. Like, what What's your takeaway from it?
I don't know, you and me clicked, so and you was in the process of molding your style, and you and Ashley were in singing at that time, and like I was rapping, and I always heard a lot of singing in my hooks. I always liked R&B. So music wise, I feel as if I helped create the style that we do to this day or whatever it's elevated to. Like I feel as if I was part of that. Um, the experience I took from it, I don't know. I
Yeah.
always felt it depends on the aspects you look at. Like I always felt at home, like I always felt safe. I always felt equal to everybody in the room, even though I don't like to really bring up race, but majority of the people, like I was one of the, I think I was the only fucking white person there, full
No,
white person,
there was a
minus the
couple
few
others, but
groups that came through every once in a while.
yeah, but
But and then all that, and all the parties, all the concerts, all the shows, all the looking over your shoulder computer and learning shit, and then I don't know. There's so many angles I could look at it. I can never say it was a bad experience. I can say there was bad experiences down that line that taught me things. So even though they were bad experiences, they taught me what not to do, I guess is how I would put it. Um,
even our bad experiences, are some
well,
people's
yeah,
best
that's what I'm
works.
saying.
You know what I mean? So,
But I'm just
I
talking
mean,
like experience wise, like I don't know, like I couldn't, like I said, the experience ain't over. I've said this before
right,
because it's not done yet. But from the shit that I can speak on, like I can't really say there wasn't nothing negative, like if I looked at it as a whole so far that I could take away from it. Like there's nothing I could be like, well, like that was a waste of time or something like that. Because even the bad experiences, like you said, aren't necessarily bad experiences. Like, for say, a computer breaking in the studio or technical problems with equipment, we'd have to fix out the bugs and shit like that.
well, I
So,
mean that happens
but even though it was a bad
all the time.
experience, I learned how to hook up equipment at the same time. It was like going to class. See, that's why I said I varied different from the other artists and how maybe they looked at shit, because now that I look back on it, I was like involved in so much shit because I wanted to learn, learn, learn. Like most artists come, did their music, and that was it. I wanted to
Right,
learn how to write a beat, or I always wanted to better how our mix was, or I wanted to learn how to record shit, or even shit like run programs, and then get into like latency and why shit's fucking up, and they wouldn't even know what the fuck to do with that shit nowadays. And
yeah,
making programs work on shit that programs shouldn't work on, and like there's not a lot of that struggle nowadays. And thanks to me sticking around and learn, not the only way I would put it, thanks to me not just being there for like to drop my lyrics, but sticking around to deal with all the other aspects of like a
right,
studio as a whole, because I wasn't interested in just doing my lyrics. I wanted to learn anything that had to do with music. So
right. Now
like,
you could put together your own studio, and
right, right.
you
And if I would
hook
have
that up
never
from the
went
ground up.
right, and if I would have never went through that experience, I wouldn't have no studio. I wouldn't, it probably wouldn't have come to this.
I that's a funny thing because usually the first thing we hook up, like if we move anywhere, I mean, is a studio.
Well, my studio still look better than my house so far. I
You know
don't
what I
fuck
mean? Like,
around.
I mean, but that's like when I moved in here, like that's the first thing I did. I made sure I had a studio set up, so I can, if the urge hits me, I'm write something.
Yeah, you
You know what
got
I
to
mean?
release. No, I feel that. It's like coming home from jail, busting that first nut. Like, you gotta release sometimes. No, I definitely
Yeah,
get
I
that.
feel it.
I feel it. I feel it. But yeah, that's about that. That's probably so far what I've took from it. It's all been knowledge. If we're gonna stick to the music aspect, it's all been, knowledge, 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 knowledge. Like I've just learned.
Always learning.
And
Always
if I
learning.
don't know some, I can always call on you, or it's even gotten to the point to where you'll be playing with something now and then tell me about it, and then I can start playing with it and we can figure something out on how this shit works or something like
Right.
that. One of us, what I like to call crack the code, like two little ghetto Asian kids or something like that. But we
Gonna get flagged for that too.
right. Damn, man, I hate this new world, man. I don't even mean nothing by that shit. But
yeah, I feel what you're saying though.
right.
That's funny.
But yeah, on the music side, yeah, it's all been knowledge, good or bad. I've always took something positive out of it, whether it be a learn what not to do shit and all of that. But I mean, most people know it's deeper than that, but a lot of that's because we've lived this for so many years.
Right.
Some people
I
do
feel it.
music, some people live music is the only way I can put it.
Like this guy was sleeping on my couch, and we dropped a whole album in a month.
I'm like, bro, it sounded like you was talking about me. I'm high, but you are talking about me.
I am talking about you. I mean, that second AC album we did, I mean, like we dropped that whole album in a month.
Yeah.
These cats crashing on my couch, waking up, hitting it again. You know what I mean? Like
with Mighty Mouse and all that.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal experience right there. You know what I mean? Like just to be able to, put something out that quickly.
But
and it was a quality CD.
Yeah.
Like it.
The crazy. Definitely. We're gonna end it out, but before we end it out, if you got any shout outs, go ahead, get them out the way. Any fuck yous, anything's coming up, anything of that nature you want to do, go ahead and let it rip.
Yeah, I ain't got no fuck yous, but shout out to Top of the World, shout out to Josh, for giving me this opportunity to learn under him and start this whole epidemic that we got going on here. It's an epidemic. You know what I mean? But yeah, right. And it's still trickling down the lines, man. Like, got a clothing line coming out, No Evil. Working on that right now. There.
Right.
This would be my first solo album, that I do, and that's crazy. I've been doing this, 20 plus years, and never wrote anything for myself.
It's all that investing in the other shit.
Yeah.
Feel that.
So that's where I'm trying to be, in the near future here.
I feel that. So we got a detox coming.
Right.
He said he ain't got no fuck yous. It's all love.
Always.
Well, you know what it is. You heard what the man said. This is Andre MidNite Hudson, which is also known as my producer, which is also known as I'll Be Nice, because we like to clown.
Yeah.
But it is another interview here on Shuview. I'd like to thank you for your time, of course, for taking your time and doing the interview and all that fun stuff. But if you want to tell everybody peace, tell everybody peace till the next one.
Thanks for having me, man, and be easy.
Be easy.